later and mock me. Okay. So yesterday we talked about Osman the First, the founder of the Ottoman Empire. We're going to go on to one of the most famous sultans, Mehmet II. Now, as I said, sometimes you'll read and it's called Mehmed II. Sometimes you'll even read and it will say Muhammad II, and it's simply because of Europeans not doing a great job capturing down names of non-Europeans, which is kind of a bummer. But Mehmet is what I see typically and seems closest to correctness. Anyways, he is called the Fatah, the Conqueror. He's one of the greatest sultans, and it's kind of a cool story because he starts off as like one of the worst sultans ever. So his daddy, Mehmed I, was beloved. He was awesome. He went where he went, he conquered. You know, he had good laws. The people thought he was such a great ruler. And he does something, his daddy, Mehmet I, that almost no sultan or any ruler really does. He says, you know, it's time I retire, enjoy life, and go and let my son take over. I mean, how often do you see rulers going and, you know, giving up power willingly without something that goes and is forcing them to? So he goes and gives up power. You know, Mehmet II, we talked about him when we were in the Byzantine Empire. Good job. Mehmet II is abysmal, though. Like, no one trusts him. No one wants to listen to him. And they keep looking to his dad for the answers because his dad's still alive. He winds up having a disastrous military campaign, and people are basically ready to revolt, overthrow him, kill him. So Mehmet I, daddy, takes back over. But, of course, daddy's old, and daddy does not live forever. So when Mehmet II winds up coming back, people go and they are not expecting much. And especially when he goes, I'm going to conquer Constantinople. People are like, yeah, right. Your dad couldn't conquer Constantinople. It's like, you're going to be able to. Remember how bad last time went? But he sets his mind to it. And one of the things that really gives him a decisive edge. So first off, we have the bubonic plague going around Europe at this time, wiping people out. The city of Constantinople is a pale complexion of what it once was. After the Fourth Crusade getting looted by Christians themselves because they were mad about payments, after the bubonic plague going through killing many, there's probably only like 10,000 people left there at all. And, the army that Sultan Mehmet II is going to send is going to be larger than that, than like the population of the city. And he takes 2 months for the siege. He uses giant cannons. He has the largest cannon ever made at that time, the Bombard, made by Urban II of Transylvania, who tried to sell it to, it's all right, I understand, tried to sell it to the Byzantines, and the Byzantines couldn't afford it. But Mehmet II says, me please, I would love to have one. This giant cannon, we're going to see a picture of it soon, is it's massive. For those of you who remember my classroom, it's as wide as my classroom. But anyways, the city winds up sort of being renamed to Istanbul. That's the name we give it today. There's a lot of records talking about how it probably was still Constantinople for a long time. But people just referred to it as the city, which is what the translation of Istanbul means. Like, so in Turkish, you go Istanbul, it's the city. And of course, Constantinople was the city. But this action is going to end the Byzantine Empire. And really, it's controlling the Straits of the Bosphorus. It's going to then give the Turks complete control of the Black Sea. It's going to give them that access to from the Mediterranean Sea. It's going to be a huge moment and really solidify the Ottomans as a dominant world power. So this is a big deal, and he does it. And I mean, you think about it, Constantinople, we know, falls in 1453. He became Sultan 1451. So it only took him 2 years to accomplish this amazing task. It was probably the amazing hat that he had that let him really do it. So Mehmet II. This is the bombard. I mean, like I said, it's like wider or just about as wide as the room is, and it would launch cannonballs that were like I think 1,500 pounds or something crazy. Just it's immense, huge. You know, walls aren't going to be able to withstand such firepower at that time. And so Mehmet II, he's going to borrow a cue that we see from many great rulers. He has this amazing city. But let's face it, after being bombarded for 2 months, it's in ruins. I mean, the city wasn't doing great to begin with after, you know, just years of neglect. And so he rebuilds the city. He builds mosques, markets, fountains, baths. He goes and makes the city beautiful. He goes, though, and solves a problem. He's got this beautiful city. He's rebuilding it, but it's empty practically because so many people had died over time. So many people had left and fled. So he started going and saying, Simon, you'd like a nice house, right? I'll give you one if you go to Constantinople. He goes, Jacob, you're so wise. I need smart people like you. Come to Constantinople. I'll give you a great government position, give you a great house. You know, go to Madeline and say, hey, why don't you and your family come to Constantinople? And he does this. He bribes people. He pays people. He gives people amazing homes, amazing positions of power so that the city winds up becoming repopulated, winds up becoming a fantastically amazing city. And one of the cool things that he does too, so at this time, people of the Jewish faith are being persecuted in Europe. We know that this persecution really starts kicking off after the First Crusade in as the beginning of the First Crusade in 1095, which we'll talk a lot about the Crusades at the end of the year. I know I've referenced it a couple times since talking about the Ottomans, but essentially the Crusades were a series of wars between Christians and Muslims over the Holy Land. Well, Christians in Europe thought, well, why are we just battling people that are, you know, way far away? There are people that aren't Christians here. Let's go and battle them as well. I know, I wish it did have a picture. I'll try to find one like that because that would give you a good sense of scale. But it's gargantuan. I mean, think about how like high those plaques usually are. Like they're kind of mid-level or a little bit higher for people to be able to read them. And yeah. But anyways, so Jews are being persecuted in Europe. Mehmet II says, I don't care if you're Jewish. Come on in. We want you. We will not mistreat you. We are not going to abuse you or persecute you. Come. And we're going to wind up seeing that's going to be a theme for the Ottoman Empire. They're actually going to be pretty religiously tolerant, much like the Mongols were later on. So, yeah, I'll try to find a picture of that with a person standing by it. Here we see some of the palace, Topkapi Palace, which you can visit today. See some of the things that were built during them. This one's always cool, the Sultan's bedchamber. You know, there was always like a couch instead of like a regular bed as we consider how they had it, but just, you know, the beauty, the grandeur, the intricacies, you know, in all of those designs. It's pretty awesome right there. So that is Mehmet II. Let me see if I can find Ottoman bombard scale picture. Let's see if I can find something like that that gives you a good idea. So this is an artist's rendition, but it kind of gives you like an idea of like the size. Like you needed huge teams of people to be able to work this. I mean, look at that. They're climbing a ladder to be able to like help operate it and see how many people it takes to work, you know, something like this. I mean, talk about like hundreds of like oxen going to move these things because they're so ridiculously heavy. Oh, this one is another one that's good for kind of showing like the size of people. Unfortunately, the resolution is like terrible. But yeah, the Ottomans had tons and tons of cannons, and they were really, really big. Wait, there's one bombard with a person. Oh, the resolution is the worst. And it's on Pinterest, which is blocked. But all right, so we've got 10 minutes left in class. We can do an old song, which I imagine probably you're going to just say, can we please watch that Mongol song again? Because that was amazing, right? Oh, I love looking at Emmy's face when I say ridiculous things. Like, so let's go and let's do a poll. So let's go. Song. We're gonna have Mr. Mickey Mongol, Mr. Mickey Byzantine, which um.
You're still recording.
Oh, yeah. Let me stop that. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, you might have to edit that